Do you ever think about what a slap in the face it is that BYU and Colorado have to square off against one another in a bowl game? Now, I wasn't on this plan when it was first announced because I was so excited. We were going to get to see what Jake Retzlaff called the People's Championship. Do I actually believe it's that? I don't know. I should probably back up off of that just a little bit. But this truly is one of the biggest games you could conjure together because in the regular season, we thought this would be the Big 12 championship. We thought it would be. Was it? No. Did Arizona State deserve to win it? Absolutely. But now we at least get to see it on the field. And while A, I'm excited for that kind of matchup, B, this is going to put a loss in the Big 12 category when ESPN flashes their bowl tracker. There was a mix-up, some confusion. The Pac-12 has a contract with the Alamo Bowl, and so there's a way that an old Pac-12 school has to go to the Alamo Bowl, and they're going to have to probably face a Big 12 school because that's what the contract says. And I understand contracts. I understand that we've, given our word or our money or so, but hasn't that almost all been entirely thrown out the window with everything else? The college football playoff contract. You had it signed in there that 5 schools, the top 5 conference champions, would make it in. Plus, it was 5 + 1, 6 total teams getting an auto bid. Last second, we could pull out of that. The Alamo Bowl, even if you cannot, you then have to do everything in your power to make sure bowl-eligible Washington State or Oregon State or whoever finds their way to the Alamo Bowl, and it's not 2 Big 12 teams squaring off. ESPN is salivating because they get to win no matter what. They're going to get maybe the most watched bowl game out of anything not in the college football playoff, and they're going to get the Big 12 to beat itself. They just got a free Big 12 championship. We just handed ESPN the Alamo Bowl, a free extra Big 12 game. Will it have more fans than the actual game in Arlington? You better bet. Does that change who should have gone to Arlington? Absolutely not. But it's a fact. And ESPN knows that. Will it get more viewership than the actual Big 12 championship? I would put my entire mortgage on it. And that doesn't, again, dilute what happened in Arlington, but it goes to show that ESPN is going to get an extra piece of our product and face 2 of our teams together in one of the biggest matchups you can get. And in the end, the Big 12 loses. There is not an outcome where both BYU and Colorado can win. There's not an outcome where at the end of the day we can say, hey, the Big 12 had X amount of double-digit win teams because if BYU goes and beats Colorado, we can't anymore. Had Colorado had a shot against A&M or USC or North Carolina, that would be different. But it's not the case they've given you when they pit 2 of our best against one another. And you cannot tell me that this was unintentional. I know how it works. I sit in the press boxes. I watch as the Sugar Bowl people, the Alamo Bowl people, the Pop-Tarts Bowl people come in and they sit down next to me and they scout out the game. They're not scout. Nobody's going back to their committee and going, well, I am the scout for the Alamo Bowl, and I do believe Shedeur Sanders is a very fine quarterback. No, it still comes down to who you invite based off the wins in the Big 12. And I can guarantee you it's not just up to this bowl committee. It's not just up to this, but there are other factors at play for pitting 2 Big 12 teams together. Well, we had a contract, so we had to do this. That's not how it worked for anybody else. Everything else had structure. We threw it for a loop. And even if there is a contract, it doesn't explicitly say it has to be one of the 4 Pac-12 teams that came over to the Big 12. It could be USC. Would have been a perfect Alamo Bowl for BYU and USC. For Colorado and BYU to play this game is absurd. Colorado USC would have been great. And I don't. Here's where they get us. Is you and I haven't complained much about this, have we? Kalani Sitake hasn't. Deion Sanders hasn't. Those are the guys who are just going to play the teams who are in front of them. They're not going to give a word about this. Even the athletic director is like, all right, cool. Brett Yormark hasn't said anything. Where I got lost was the luster of this game, was getting so excited that we get to see a matchup that I told you in week 12. I said on this show and said, we are going to get a BYU Colorado Big 12 championship because that's what we deserve. That's what we were promised. And that's somehow, when the tiebreakers are all said and done, what we're going to get out of this. Wasn't the case. And again, now that we do get it, I'm excited. Yeah, I was excited then, and that's why I haven't brought this up yet, is because I was so excited to actually see this game on a football field. But what I've come to my senses of is we don't need to do this. We don't need to. We talked all year about how bad it would be to cannibalize ourselves, and now we're letting the bowl season help us cannibalize, force us to play one another, force us to lose an extra game, and now ESPN can say, well, the Big 12 has lost another bowl game. Oh, this mighty Big 12. You guys wanted to scream in our face how the Big 12 needed more publicity and how the Big 12 needed more love. Well, you just lost another bowl game. What if BYU goes and beats the Heisman Trophy winner? What if BYU goes and beats Deion Sanders? What if Deion Sanders beats a double-digit win BYU team? What if they do it in the face of a crowd that's going to be insane with blue and white? You won't get the same credit as if it was out of conference. It will matter just as much. That's maybe, I keep saying this is the biggest issue. This is the biggest, but then I think of another issue. The players are going to fight. They want to win this game even more because so they've created this delusion. Now we're all delusional that what they're doing for us is a good thing. Oh, the players are so excited to play Colorado. They're so excited to play another Big 12 team. And again, Jake Retzlaff is pushing that. I don't think he's wrong by saying, I don't think he's wrong for thinking this is the people's Big 12 championship. I don't think he believes that Arizona State shouldn't be in the college football playoff, but he's giving that sentiment because now we have this delusion that, oh, thank you, college football gods, for giving us this game. And they knew it. They knew that's how we'd feel. Oh, just... They sprinkle a little manna for us. BYU fans get that reference. Sprinkle a little manna in there. Dance, monkey, dance. Look, college football fan, we gave you the one you wanted. But ultimately, it's hurtful. Ultimately, we don't get anything out of this for the Big 12. Brett Yormark gets no extra branding. We get one good night on ESPN, but guess who benefits most from that? ESPN. That's where I am. That's where I am right now. All right. It's just kind of sad that they make us do this. Coming up, let's recap some of these bowl games. Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is where I go. Oh, last night, went to a Wyatt Flores concert in Fort Worth. And it was cheap, and it was fun, and there were cervezas, and I loved it. And Game Time right now has the lowest prices guaranteed. They'll credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time gives you a seat view, get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. They cover your ticket with the single most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. That's right, $20 off your first purchase. Game Time, download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONCollege. It is Game Time. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.